Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to talk about what it means to stand out among your mate and the people in your workplace, in school, because when you have a relationship with God, people see the difference in your character and your behavior, the way you carry yourself, and also you become wiser. So I'm just going to talk about that, and I'm going to talk about what you could go through. Alright, so I've got notes, so if I'm looking down, you guys know what I am looking at. So when you have a relationship with God, you are not an ordinary person, because now you've got the Holy Spirit in the inside of you, and because you've got the Holy Spirit in the inside of you, you realize that you don't have to desire to do a lot of things that the worldly people like to do. So let's say you've got friends who go clubbing, they like to smoke, they like to drink and do all of that. When you begin to grow more in God, you won't have the desire to do that anymore, and your friends will begin to notice that you're starting to look a bit different. The reason why you don't have the desire to do those kind of things anymore is because the Holy Spirit is in the inside of you. So therefore your flesh and the Holy Spirit are constantly fighting. The one I want you guys to pay attention to in the Bible is Daniel. When Daniel was put into the king's palace, somewhere in the Bible it says that Daniel decided to distinguish himself. He decided to be different from the rest. He decided to stand out from the rest. And there was a time where the king built an idol, and he did a decree that everybody in that kingdom must bow down to his idol. And people went to go and spy on Daniel to see if Daniel bowed down to the idol, and Daniel and his friends refused to bow down to the idol because it is against God. It is a sin to worship idols. So when the people noticed that Daniel didn't bow down to this idol, the people in that kingdom reported Daniel and his friends to the king. So the king decided that, you know what, I'm going to put all of you into a fire because you have refused to obey my command. When you begin to stand out in front of people, people begin to notice what you're doing, even though they're not telling you. If your friends ask you, oh, let's go to the club, and you're like, no, I'm not going to go, I'm going to go do something else, they are watching you. They're noticing that this person doesn't seem to do the things that we used to do together. Like, what is going on? People see that you're unique and you're different. People don't like that. They get jealous of that, because these days people in the world like to follow the crowd. If Beyonce is wearing a green top, the 90% of girls want to wear a green top. If Beyonce is doing this, 90% of the girls want to do that. Personally, when I see a group of people wearing the same outfit or the same thing, I like to wear something opposite, because I like to stand out. I don't like people wearing the same thing as me and we're looking like twins, or we're looking like people who came from the same family. I just personally don't like it. I know in your teens it's really hard for you to be unique and for you to stand out, because you don't want to feel like you're the odd one out. But trust me, I think there is something unique about being different, and I think there's something unique in everyone. But because people are too busy trying to follow the leader or follow the crowd, they don't really discover their own uniqueness. So it's important to know that I don't have to fit into every group. I don't have to fit into what people want me to do. You can stand out, you can be on your own, and after a while people will begin to follow what you're doing. People might not see the difference now, and people might not like what you're doing now, but after a while people will begin to notice that, you know what, there's something just different about this person. I'd like to just look up to this person. Nowadays you see girls, they post pictures on Instagram, and if they've got like a big booty, or if they want the world to know that they've got a big booty, they'll take like a side pic, or they'll take a pic from behind. You can be different, and you might not need to take that kind of picture. You don't need to let people know what's on your body. It's not their business. Nowadays you've got guys as well, if they want to, you know, show off their muscles or their body, taking pics topless, adding extra oil to make it look shiny. You don't have to do all of that. Be different, stand out, because you've got the Holy Spirit in the inside of you. So if you've got that in the inside of you, people need to see that reflect on the outside. Bear in mind that the king in the book of Daniel knew that Daniel's God is real. He knew what Daniel's God was capable of doing, because in chapter 2 there was a time where the king had a dream and he couldn't understand it, and he got Daniel to interpret that dream. But on top of that, he still wanted Daniel to bow down to his God, and Daniel refused to compromise. When you begin to walk with God, you have to make up your mind that I am not going to compromise with things of the world. If the world says this is the right way to do it and God is saying no, I'm going to stand on God's side. I don't care how the world sees it. This is how God sees it, and that is how I will continue to see it. And when it comes to conversation, there's some conversation you need to be careful. Make sure you don't get yourself involved in conversation that are godless. It says avoid godless chatter, because those who indulge in it will become more and more ungodly. I remember a time at work, I was in a group of a delivery team, and they were talking about they were having like conversations about sex, and they were talking about different positions and all that kind of stuff. And I got myself involved in that conversation, and when I got myself involved in that conversation, I didn't really have the boldness to talk about Christ, because I knew that this conversation was ungodly. Now, there's nothing wrong with talking about sex to people, but there is a limit to it, because when you begin to go deep and dirty, then you kind of feel like, you know, this is a bit too much to talk about. Okay, there's a certain level I can go with it, but then I can't. You don't expect me to go deep talking about size, color, and all that kind of stuff. And when we were talking about it, I just felt like, oh, like this is so dirty, and they begin to look at you in a dirty way, so you don't have the boldness to talk about Christ. So be conscious of the type of conversation you get yourself into. Some people will intentionally bring up dirty conversation just for you to forget about religion and get involved in godless chatter, and it's something that God doesn't want us to do. Even when it comes to gossiping, back then when I was in secondary school, I used to gossip a lot, and now, to be honest, I couldn't even care less what people are doing with their life. I'm not even bothered. These days, when people come to me with information about this person and that person, I'm like, look, I don't want to talk about it. Like, find something better to talk about, because there's no time for that. It's not good to talk about other people's business. And when you have a friend who gossip a lot, the chances are she will gossip about you to somebody else. So you also have to be careful about that. There are also going to be people who will set a trap for you so you can deny your own God. In the book of Daniel, the people went to the king and told the king that they suggested to the king that, why don't everyone bow down to your God? Because they knew that Daniel was committed to bowing down to his own God and not to any other God. So they're the one that brought that suggestion up to the king, and then the king made that decree, because the people in that kingdom knew that Daniel wasn't going to obey that law. So in this day and age, people may start asking you, oh, how do you know God is real? Who wrote the Bible? How do you know this? How do you know that? Let me tell you, there are times where when I'm talking to someone and they're telling me they're going through this and they're going through that, I try to encourage them to pray. I don't even preach here. I just say, you know what, maybe you should pray about it. The next thing you know, how do you know God is real? Who wrote the Bible? Maybe somebody wrote it out of nowhere. Maybe it's just imagination. And there are times, I cannot be bothered to explain. I can't even be bothered to start talking about, you know, how the Bible was made, who is God, how do I know it's real? Because sometimes what I find is some people, they ask that question because they want to pollute you, they want to shake your faith, they don't want you to believe in what you believe in. So it's not every single person that asks you that question you have to give an answer to. In some cases, yes, if you're going to evangelize. In some cases, all you have to say to yourself is, Jesus, come fix it. Also, make sure you select your friends wisely. Now, I am going to do a series on friendship, but I don't think I'm going to add it to the teen series, but maybe after the teen series, I'm going to do some videos concerning friendship. If you're someone who wants to have a relationship with God, it's important to choose your friends wisely and choose friends who believe in God as well. Not only that, but choose friends who have a relationship with God, because that way they can support you as well. When Daniel was going to go into the fire, his friends went there with him. When Daniel was trying to figure out the type of dream the king had, his friends also prayed and fasted with him. So it's really important to have friends who are godly, friends who pray, because that way it will encourage you to do more and you wouldn't feel like you're left out. Now, there is a time where God might just need you alone and you will have no friends and you have people to talk to, but God just needs your attention. And then there are times where you're going to encounter godly friends, and there's nothing wrong with praying to God and asking God that, God, look, I need some godly friends in my life. Please choose my friends for me. Now, someone who is in the darkness, someone who's on the devil's side, is going to spot someone who's on God's side very easily. There are people that when they see me, they naturally just don't like me, and they're very suspicious. Like, you might come across people, as soon as you walk into the building, they're like this. They don't want you to look at their face. They don't want you to, and I'm not saying that every single person that does that is from the darkness, but I always suspect them kind of people, because it's easy for darkness to see light, but it's not easy for the light to see darkness. Okay, so anyone who's like the agent of the devil, or anyone who belongs to the devil, they can spot a child of God from far away, especially a child of God that prays, that spends time with God, that's in the presence of God each day on a regular basis. They can spot that person very, very easily. So if you come across people that naturally don't like you, please don't force yourself on them. Just let them be. If you say hi to them and they don't want to say hi to you, it's cool. Don't take it to heart. Don't be bitter about everything. I've come across people, or people that I work with, I say hello and they just look that way. They don't want to say anything back. I'm like, cool, that's your own, that's your problem. At least I've said hi, and that's okay. And if I can't be bothered to say hi the next day, I don't bother. But I don't take it to heart and go home and start thinking about all the people that don't like me and all the people that don't say hi to me. Nah, there's no time for that. You just have to understand that you're unique, and it's not everyone that's going to like you. It's not everyone that's going to accept you the way you are, and it's okay. And also in your workplace, there are people who are not going to like you. So when you have decided to get serious with your relationship with God, it's important to stand firm. Do not deny your God, okay? Do not be unfaithful to God. Be faithful to Him. There are people, their friends are pushing them around to different churches, from church to a mosque, from mosque back to church. They're just going up and down. You don't even know where they stand. And they're out here talking about faithful relationships. You need to be faithful to your God first of all. That's where it starts, because for in the Bible, I think it says it in Isaiah 60 or 61, where it says, the God your maker is your first husband. So you have to be faithful to your God first of all. I come across a time where people might want to get you in trouble in work. I remember there was a place where I was working, and God just showed me that you need to resign from this job immediately. And I was like, oh God, if I resign from this job, where am I going to go? Before I start looking for another job, before I do all this application, whatever, I was like, okay God, just give me 3 weeks. Let me look for another job, then I will leave. And God was like, I want you to leave now. Leave. And then after a while, God just showed me that if I didn't leave on time, I would have had a big issue with the police, and I would have got in trouble with the security guard and the police and all of that. So I was quite happy that God made a way of escape for me. And if He can do it for me, He can do it for you. That's why I'm saying, like, if you come across people who naturally don't like you, don't force yourself on them, and don't try to change who you are to make people like you, unless if there's something wrong with your character and you know that it's bad, or there's something wrong with your behavior and you know that's bad, then you need to change it. But apart from that, if you come across people, they don't want to say hi to you, they don't want to play with you, just leave it like that, yeah? Because deep down, you don't know what's going on here. You have no clue what is going on down here. And if anybody wants to corrupt you, or if anybody wants to get you into trouble, God will make a way of escape, okay? So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And until my next video, guys, stay blessed and stay beautiful. Bye!